The average hockey fan here, and tonight we have a big game between the Montreal Canadiens and the New York Rangers, and this is a very winnable game for the Montreal Canadiens. They're playing a depleted Rangers squad who has been rebuilding since the beginning of the year, pretty much the midway point of last year, but now they have really moved out some big names. They've moved out Max Zuccarello, who is a heart and soul player of the team, a big point getter, a big help on their power play, and a lot of fans in New York love Zooks. They were really sad to see him go, from what I've heard on social media from New York fans and from what replies I've got making statuses about it and making videos about it. And also they moved out Kevin Hayes, a big number 2 center, can play number 1 center if he absolutely needed to, can put up a lot of points. He's a big body, he's the type of dude that would help you a lot in the playoffs, but clearly New York doesn't have playoff aspirations this year. They're a rebuilding, restructuring team. They want picks, they want things. They got Lundqvist, who's an older goalie. I'm not sure what term he signed and stuff, how much longer he's going to be there. Like I say, I don't follow New York like that, but they do have an older goalie who makes a decent bit of money. But I'm assuming that they're rebuilding after, by the time they're done to rebuild and by the time they're able to contend, they'll have a new person in place of Lundqvist, because he is a bit older. His numbers has dropped quite a bit. But he's still the king. He's still Henrik Lundqvist. I got a lot of respect for him as a player. As for Montreal, they can't afford to give up points to teams like this. Every team that they know they can beat, that they should beat, they need to beat them. I would like to see him get 2 or 3 games in a row, get a little streak going, get a price on a little heater, because this is not the time of year you can afford to give up points. Carolina is right behind Montreal in the points. Pittsburgh and Columbus are pretty much even with them in points. I believe Columbus is a little bit better. They're still in that first wildcard position somehow, some way, but I don't want to see them drop out of that first wildcard position, and even if they do, I want to see them get into playoffs. It's going to be a wildcard to get into playoffs. They're realistically not going to catch Toronto. Yes, Toronto lost their last game, but every time they lose lately, they rattle off 2 or 3 in a row, and they're quite a bit ahead of Montreal by now. Montreal has lost to some teams recently they should have beaten. They lost that very stale, very poor New Jersey game, and then they followed up with an excellent game against Detroit, an excellent 8-1 win in their last game. So I'm hoping we see like a more Detroit-style game, a game where the Habs get on the board earlier, their big players step up, and they contribute, and they win the game big. That's what I'm hoping for. You'll get my prediction at the end of this video. Anyways, New York so far this year, they're clearly not having the season they want to have, even though they are rebuilding. They aren't the best team in the league by no means. I'm sure they would like to be better than what they are now, because their record was only 27, 26, and 10. They have 64 points. They're 7 in the Metro Division. Their last 5 games, they're 2-1-2. In their last game, they had a pretty decent game, but they came out of it without a point. It's been the story of New York's year. They do play well. They've had some games. They've had some big wins, and they've had some games where they've been right in it to the end. But they lost to Tampa in regulation 4-3 and left with nothing out of it. It's probably better for New York down the stretch, because the worse they do, the more chances they have of getting a better pick, a top 3 lottery pick even. Their power play is pretty good at 20.88%, but with Zuccarello going out and Hayes going out, not sure if Hayes plays on their power play, but I would assume Zuccarello does. With both of those guys going out, I would assume their power play totals to go down. They're 20.88%, 14th in the league. Their penalty kill isn't the best. It's 27th in the league at 77.23. Their goals for is 186, 19th in the league. Their goals against is 211. That's good for 24th in the league. Lundqvist is not having the year he would like to have by no means. He doesn't have the best win-loss record. He doesn't have a good save percentage, and his goals against is over 3. 43 games played, 17 wins, 16 losses, 9 overtime losses, .907 save percentage, 3.04 goals against, and 0 shutouts. For Lundqvist not to have a shutout by this point of the season, that's pretty crazy. Georgiev, who came in red hot as a backup. His first game, he shut out Toronto, made like 50 saves, looked absolutely brilliant, looked like he was going to be the sickest goalie in the world for New York. Since then, he's pretty much just been an average backup. He's looked like what a backup should look like. 10-10-1 for Georgiev, 3.18 goals against, .902 save percentage. Their leaders, Zuccarello and Hayes, were both top 3 in scoring, but now that they're gone, they're no longer top 3 in scoring. Their top 2 leaders at the moment are Zibanejad with 63 games played, 27 goals, 36 assists, 63 points, -6, and he plays 20.29 minutes per game. I was trying to get their top 3 leaders, but they still have Hayes listed in their top 3 statistical leaders, and he doesn't even play for the team anymore. So I wrote down the top 2 for New York, and he plays Zibanejad plays 20.29 minutes a game, so he's a big part of their team. He's a huge power play threat, and he's a guy who you want to stay out of the box, you want to keep him off the ice as much as possible, and you want to shut him down. You want your top defensive pairing line playing against his line the whole game. You want your best line playing against New York's best line. Kreider, we all know this game. Habs fans know Kreider all too well. I can't stand the guy for what he did to Price. I think he took away Montreal's best chance at winning the cup. They were in the Eastern Conference Final. Very first game, it looked like Carey Price was going to carry them to the Stanley Cup Final. They were favorites to win that series against New York, especially with the way Price was playing. First game, Kreider runs Price, puts him out for the rest of the playoffs and a big chunk of the next year. So diehards know that name all too well, and they don't like it. I don't like Chris Kreider, but anyways, he's their second leading scorer, 63 games played, 26 goals, 21 assists, 47 points, and he's a +7, and I can't stand the guy. Montreal Canadiens, 34-23-7. 75 points, still fourth in the Atlantic, still in that first wildcard spot. Their last 5, they're 3-2-0, so a bit better. They're picking it up a bit. Their power play is 12.6%, 30th somehow, some way, because their Nashville's power was abysmal, but they will eventually drop to 31st if they don't start picking it up, because Nashville recently got Wayne Simmons, a power play specialist, and a guy who can get in front of the net, and I'm sure will contribute to Nashville's power play. Their penalty kill, 80.1%, 18th in the league. Their goals for is 12th with 196. Their goals against is 186. That's good for 11th in the league. Their goalies, Carey Price has 50 games played already. It's not even, still 20 games almost left in the season. He already got 50 games played. 26, 18, and 5. 2.52 goals against, .917 save percentage, 3 shutouts. I would assume he would be starting this game tonight. It isn't a back-to-back, and it pretty much is a must-win. I know they say all of them are must-wins, but if Montreal were to lose this game tonight, Carolina were to win, Carolina's in, Montreal's out, so it doesn't look good for Montreal. As for Niemi, he hasn't played a game in a while since the Florida game where he was abysmal, gave up 3 goals on 9 shots. He has 16 games played, 8 wins, 5 losses, 2 overtime losses, a 3.75 goals against, and a .889 save percentage. Not good numbers for Niemi, and he has 0 shutouts. Max Domi had 5 points in his last game, Andrew Shaw had a hat-trick in his last game, and Jonathan Drouin had 4 points in his last game. Max Domi is still the scoring leader for the Habs and pretty much has been the whole year from day one. 64 games played, 22 goals now, 37 assists, 59 points. He's going to be a 60-point player this year. Hopefully he don't get injured or nothing like that, knock on wood. But he's going to be a 60-point player this year, first time in his career. And God, is he ever paying off for the patches, or for the Galchenyuk trade, excuse me. He's a +15 now. He was a +5 his last game. He has 17.26 minutes per game, so he plays a big role on the ice, plays a nice few chunks of minutes. And when Domi's hot, the whole team is hot, and I love seeing the Domi, Drouin, Shaw pairing put back together again, because Drouin has no choice but to show up and play when he's playing with Domi and Shaw. Those two guys work so hard. If you're not playing hard, if you're not skating, if you're being sooky going to the bench with your head down, it's going to stick out like a sore thumb playing with Domi and Shaw, because they fly to the bench, they fly when they're on the ice, they're always getting to the net, they're in the right place at the right time, they're playing defensively, they're always aware of what's happening around them, they're gritty players. So a guy like Drouin, who's a finesse player who kind of doesn't show up some nights, has no choice but to show up when he's playing with those guys, or he's going to look terrible, which is probably why he got taken off the lineup midway through the season. But I love the chemistry between Domi, Shaw, and Drouin, and I really want to see that line stick together. We've seen how big it was last time. I believe they had 12 points combined, if I'm not mistaken, in one game. That's great. Drouin had 4 points after coming off like a 5 or 6 game pointless streak. He was 6th the game prior to that. And the third leading scorer, who's been great all year, consistent all year, shows up every game, skates hard every game, one of the hardest workers on the team, Thomas Tatar. He's really, really becoming a fan favorite, this guy is. 63 games played, 22 goals, 25 assists, 47 points, +18, could potentially hit 30 goals this year, could break his career high in goals, and wow, how good would that be for Tatar? Everybody's, oh my God, you trade Max Domi out of 30, or you trade Max Pacioretty out, a 30-goal scorer for a guy who might score 20. Tatar's been a perennial goal scorer. He had a few bad games in Vegas last year and a bad playoff run, but he's a perennial 20-goal scorer, and this year he could hit 30. How much of a slap in the face would that be to Vegas for taking Pacioretty and giving us Tatar, Suzuki, and a pick, and Tatar scores 30, and imagine if Patches didn't score 30. How bad would that look for Vegas, and how great would that look for Montreal? I would love to see it, and I don't hate on Patches by no means, but I would love to see it. Thomas Tatar, 63 games played, 22 goals, 25 assists, 47 points, +18. 16.21 minutes per game. Doesn't plays under a minute less than Domi and Drouin, and is still right up there with them in points. For the keys for victory for Montreal tonight, stay out of the penalty box. Shut down the Sabinajad line. Get lots of shots from the point, because one thing I've noticed watching New York Rangers games, especially this season, they cannot clear traffic out of the front of their net. It's why the goaltenders have struggled so much and why their numbers are so bad. Get lots of shots from the point, get lots of traffic in front of Lundqvist or Gorgiev, whichever one's in tonight, and beat them with shots from the point or nice wrist shots that they can't see, because the goalie can't stop a puck if he can't see it, and Montreal has the players to get in front of the net. They got guys like Shaw, Gallagher. It's funny how the smaller guys on this team are the ones who go to the front of the net. Byron is even willing to do it. I'd like to see Armia do it more. They have Nate Thompson. He's able to do it. They got a lot of guys who can put traffic in front of the net and create problems for New York that way and drive them crazy. Get on the board early. Montreal always thrives when they get out to an early lead. They've shown it a lot when they do. The only game I've seen them really give up after getting a really good early lead was the Toronto game. They never so much gave up, but they blew the lead in that game. A couple bad plays happened, yes, but the power play killed in that game as well. Maybe get a power play goal against New York tonight too would be great. They're 27th in the league on a penalty kill. If there's a team you can take advantage of tonight, it's New York. And try and get New York in the box. Try and draw some power plays. Keep a lot of zone pressure on them and try and draw some power plays, because 2 out of their last 3 games, they've never even had a power play. Your power play is not going to get better if you don't draw penalties. So I would like to see Montreal do that. I'm expecting Price to be in that tonight. I would love to see him have a strong game too. I would love to see another shutout for Carey Price. I really want to see Montreal get on a streak, a nice win streak. Anyways, guys, that's my review for the video. That's my thoughts on the game. My prediction for tonight's win will be a 5-2 Montreal win. Plenty of shots for Montreal. I'm looking for over 40 shots tonight and lots of scoring attempts, because New York doesn't have a good defense and they can't clear the traffic from the front of the net. And hopefully draw some power plays. Don't forget to like my videos, guys. Feel free to leave a comment. Let me know what you think on this game. And please hit that subscribe button. The more subscribers, the merrier. I've been getting a few the past few days. This page is getting a bit of traction, and I'm really, really loving it. Love talking about hockey. Got plenty of debate for you guys. And at the end of the season, I will be doing an end-of-the-season report comparing how good players and how good the team is compared to last year. I have a couple more player profiles coming. No more trades to break, unfortunately, now that the deadline's over, but lots and lots of game talk happening, lots of big games happening, few back-to-backs coming up, big road games. Let's see a big win for the Habs tonight. My prediction's 5-2. Big game for Price, big game for Domi. I'm looking for Domi to be the first star of the game. Go Habs, go. This is Mr. Average Hockey Fan, over and out. Like, subscribe, comment. Have a great day, folks. Enjoy the game.